Testing. We respectfully request the Sangha great virtues for the sake of this assembly and all living beings. Please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach and guide us how to end birth and death, leave suffering and attain bliss, and quickly realize not birth. Cung thính đại đức tặng thịnh, vì thứ pháp hội cấp nhờ thiết chúng sanh, tịnh chuyên diệu pháp luân giao đạo hạ môn, như há liêu sanh thoát tư ly khổ đạc lạc, tất chứng vô sanh. Homage to the Blessed, Noble, and Perfectly Enlightened One. Nam mô Sa Đàn Thổ Sư Chế Đô Ye Ở La Hờ Đi Sa Miao Son Pu Tô Xie. Nam mô Ta Đắc Tha Tu Ya Đa Ya La Đế Tam Miệu Tam Bồ Đà Toa. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million aeons is difficult to encounter. Now that I am able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I vow to fathom the thus come one's true and actual principles. Wu shang sheng sheng wei miao fa bai qian wan jie nan zao yu, wo jin jian wen de shou qu, yuan jie ru lai zhe shi yi. All Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, great Master Huineng, great Master YongHua, all good monks and nuns, and all good no advisors, Emitofuo. Chư Phật Bồ Tát, kính thưa Lục Tổ, Hòa Thượng, Tiên Hóa, quý thầy cô và các vị thiện tri thức A Di Đà Phật. Chú Phật Bồ Tát, Liêu Chủ, Sư Phụ Sang Trần,各位出家人, 各位善知识, Emitofuo. Hello everyone, today is the 22nd of October 2022. We are gathered here in Go Forest Chan Meditation Center to continue discussing the 6th Patriarch Sutra. We are doing this the second time. We are on chapter 2 to slide number 232. The first time we explained a few years ago, 3-4 years ago, was based more on the traditional, conventional way of explaining with Asian wisdom. So this second time here, we want to put on our American Mahayana stamp and explain it American style, if you will. It would be nice if we can transcribe this and make it available so that eventually we can compile it and have a sutra explanation. It would be very unusual to have the sixth Patriarch Sutra explained, with a more modern slant, if you will. Similarly, we also have been explaining the Chan anecdotes in details in English. I believe it's really rare to have that, and therefore we should compile them as well. And I hope that some of you will step up and do the compilation so that we can also turn it into a book as well, if you will. Okay, I foresee that in the future we continue to discuss more of these Chan anecdotes. I always wanted to learn more about the Chan anecdotes. That's very famous in our Chan school, Chinese Chan school, and no one really explained it until we do. So I think it's a great interest in general for the people, all levels, whether it's intellectuals to practitioners to low level to high level. So I think if we invest the time in compiling and transcribing these things, I think it would be very helpful. Okay, so I hope some of you will step up and help us through this process. Okay, I really don't have time to do this anymore. I have too much work to do, plus more sutras to prepare as well. After this, I probably want to go into a more popular sutra, such as Vimalakirti Sutra. Okay, I think people would be interested in finding out, because apparently my master's disciples, they publish his explanation already of this Vimalakirti Sutra. So I thought I would take it and then interpret it from an American slant instead of Chinese slant. So you will, Chinese style versus American style. Okay, so it would be cool. Yeah, I don't look so excited. Okay, I begin the Sutra lecture, 232. So we, in the chapter that explains about the wisdom of enlightened people, how to develop it. And so the Patriarch said just previously, he says, you should memorize these verses. That's how you will it will help you unfold your practice wisdom and practice accordingly. So text, those with form inherently has the way, without hindering or afflicting one another, leaving the way to seek another way to the end of life is not to see the way.
色类自有道，各不相妨恼，离道别密道，终身不见道。
Okay. Commentary 233. Those with form inherently have the way. Okay. That's how we translate our version. My master's version translated from Chinese to English is slightly different. Okay, so it says those with forms. Okay, are meaning that sentient beings inherently have the way, 自由. Okay, those with form, those that has shape, that has a body, has a form, okay? They themselves, 自 here is themselves, okay, have the way. Meaning that those beings already have the way in them. It's a very strong statement. when we go to school, when we go for a degree, we are seeking for information from the outside. Yes, to make ourselves smarter, make ourselves wiser, more knowledgeable. So the knowledge comes from outside in order to enhance us. Yes? Whereas in cultivation, the Patriarch says, you don't need to seek outside. The way that you're cultivating, you're seeking to achieve, is already inside of you. You already own it yourself. 自由 is you yourself have it, no one else. In other words, it's very strong. It says, if you go out there and you seek for the way, let's say in an ashram in India, okay, or a temple in China, or and so forth, okay, then you will not find a way there. It's a very, very strong statement. The way is already in you. So seek the way within you. Don't seek outside of yourself. This goes against the grain. It goes against worldly knowledge, worldly approach to solving problems, to acquiring knowledge. Without hindering, next phrase of the verse, without hindering or afflicting one another. So, 一个不像烦恼，OK，So he says, because you already have the way inside of you, you own it already. The treasure is inside of you. The wisdom is inside of you. Okay? And therefore, you should not. Okay? Each and every one of you. Okay? Ge is each and every one. Okay? It's very emphasis. Each and every one of you should not mutually obstruct or afflict each other. That's the literal translation. Chinese people help me out. You can disagree and you tell me you dropping some sort of Chinese character. Okay? You agree with that? Okay? So it says, each of you, by all means, do not try to obstruct or afflict one another. Next, since you don't seem to be impressed, leaving the way to seek another way, 离道别密 is it 密有密道密离道别密道 okay what does it mean in Chinese? 离道 to lead the way 别密道 Yellow. Hello.
I think it's not exactly seek another way. It's seek a way in another place.
If you leave the way, okay, 别密道
You apart from the way and seek the way other elsewhere, something like that.
别 here means what?
other. It's like other.
Okay, so he says, if I interpret it this way, see if it makes sense to you. It says, if you leave this way here, leave the way here in caps, okay, to seek another path, another way, okay, then at the end of life, you will not see the way. Okay, meaning that if this way here that we've been teaching you how to practice, how to cultivate, how to study, okay, if you abandon this way that we've been teaching you, you will not be able to find the way. Is it what it says in Chinese? Yes or no? I'm a little bit thrown off by the Chinese character "bie."
Master Bie is like separate.
Separate.
Other.
It's not different. Okay. Okay, I see. So "bie" is an adverb of the "me."
Sorry. What?
Okay, very good. So he says, the way we've been teaching you, the way we've been preaching, we've been training you, okay? If you don't buy into it, you abandon this and you try to look for another way, okay, yourself, okay? Because the way we're teaching you is not our own. The way we're teaching you is from the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. We didn't invent this at all. Because there's so many sages before us who've done it already, who did it already, okay? And we all follow this way. And that's how they all got there. They all became Buddhas of this, because of this way they've been preaching. They've been transmitting to our generation, and we're trying to transmit to the next generation as well, okay? If you do that, you abandon the way here, you will never see the way to the end of your life. You'll never will never be able to see the way that, we've been preaching. You will never succeed, in other words. Questions or comments? What are the implications? What does it mean? It means that, what is the way that he's referring to, that the sixth patriarch is referring to? Li Dao, you leave the way. What way is he talking about? Does it bother you which way he's talking about? The Chinese keep on talking about it, and to us in English is still unclear, isn't it? Huh? Which way is he talking about? Anyone knows? Boy, do I wish that I was there when Master YongHua explained the sixth Patriarch Sutra. I had so many questions like this. Which way is he referring to? The way of the patriarchs. The patriarchs are transmitting the way from one generation of patriarch to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. So do not want to deviate from the way that they've been transmitting. That's Mahayana. It's typical of the Mahayana teaching is to transmit this way here. And the people who are responsible for it. Okay? This way here is transmitted from generation to generation. It originated with the Mahakashyapa Patriarch Next, it went to Venerable Ananda, and so forth. Okay? And it got to Master Xu Yun, then it got to Master YongHua. Is that clear? So, in other words, if you want to succeed in your cultivation, you want to look for and stay within the way that's taught by the patriarchs, if you will. Is that clear? It's safe. If you do that, you see the way. You find the way. Okay? You will succeed. You get to your end goal. 234. A frantic passage through a life will bring regret when it comes to its end. Should you wish to see the true way, practice propriety is the way. Yellow.
波波度一生，到头还自傲。欲得见真道，行正即是道。
Okay? 235. A frantic passage through a life, okay, will bring regret when it comes to an end. This refers to us. We chase our tails, okay? We are pressured into pursuing things. Okay, it's pursuing one thing after another, after another, after another. It's no big picture. There's no clear strategy. Okay, and because of this, it will bring regret at the end of our lives. Should you wish to see the way, the true way, practice propriety, to practice propriety is the way. Add the two. Hello? Anyone home? To practice propriety is the way. Or practicing propriety is the way. Okay? That's fine. Okay, very good. So, if you wish to see the true way, to practice propriety is the way. Okay? 行正. Okay? Meaning that you do the proper things. You practice the proper way. Okay? What is the proper way? What is propriety? Okay? Propriety here refers to things that are consistent with the law of cause and effect. All the Mahayana teaching is totally congruent, totally consistent with cause and effect. No surprise. Everything that's taught in Buddhism, okay, falls in the realm of cause and effect. You plant the proper cause, that's how you get enlightened. You plant the wrong causes, you will not get enlightened. Okay? That's why when you do the right thing, you do the proper things, you are progressing towards the way, towards seeing the way. When you do the wrong things, things that are improper, you are deviating from the way. That simple. Okay? And you don't know what it means. Not yet, until you practice. And then you realize that, I am off. I'm going off on a tangent because I am contradicting the law of cause and effect. All right? So this is a self-checking mechanism, if you will. 236. If you don't have a mind for the way, you walk in darkness, blind to the way. If you truly walk the way, you are blind to the faults of the world.
自若无道心，暗行不见道；若真修道人，不见世间过。
Okay, so this is a pair that are designed to emphasize the point. Okay, if you don't have the mind of the way, okay, if you have no aspiration for the way, you say, "Let me live my life." Okay. Don't tell me about nonsense. Don't talk to me about your voodoos and all your stuff. Okay, then you are walking in the dark and you can't see the way. Okay, meaning that you have it's like you're traveling without compass. You have no sense of direction. And what is the way? What is the sense direction of the way? It says, this body of ours, okay, this body of ours, okay, is there for one primary reason, to help us accomplish the way. You may not agree with it now, but at the end of your life, you will regret that you missed the opportunity. Okay? So that's why you walk in darkness and you're oblivious to the way. You don't see it, you don't care, you don't think it's important. Okay? If you truly walk the way, you're blind to the faults of the world. On the other hand, if you're practicing the way, you walk the walk, then you are blind to the faults of the world, meaning that you don't look at people's faults. If you see the people's faults, as if you're blind, as if you don't see them at all. It's very important, okay? Don't look at others' faults. If you see others' faults, ignore it. Don't talk about it. Don't make a note. Don't broadcast it online, okay? It's totally wrong to say about the faults of others, except when you're lecturing like me. Go ahead and ask. Then why do you keep on talking about others' deficiencies and faults? I talk about it in order to tell you what to avoid, not to criticize them. All right? Criticizing others is not very beneficial for myself personally. Actually, it brings on harm. Okay? You make enemies. For what? Okay? However, in order to help you avoid treading the wrong path. I have to point it out to you. I was there. I was in the system. And I saw that it would not lead you very far. It will get you in trouble eventually unless you prepare and you are cognizant of those mistakes and primarily, pre-program yourself, I do not want this. This is not good enough for me. That's the main purpose. Why are we doing this? Because from the translation that I learned from my late Chinese teacher, he explained, he spoke Dharma in Chinese, they translated into English, whatever translation they chose to make. Master YongHua rarely criticized others. And that has a problem. The problem is that people mistakenly think that what he teaches is the whole thing. You have to understand Buddhist teaching is based on the audience, on the assembly. He's not a Buddha. We're not Buddhas. Therefore, we can only speak to you as we understand your level. The Buddhas, when he spoke Dharma, he spoke the Dharma for everyone with one single sound. Everyone gets it at their own levels. That's the Buddha's genius. He has this incredible wisdom. When he says, he utters one word, let's say a sutra, he spoke a sutra, each of us at different levels understood it differently with one single sound. Whereas for my teacher, he's no Buddha. Absolutely not. He's not one in Bodhisattva. He's not a Buddha. And therefore, when he spoke the Dharma, it's for a specific target audience. So that's why it kept him busy enough to worry about how to educate those people. And my generation, I saw the results of such sermons, such things. I realized that the audience is different. And his perspective is that of a Chinese teacher who is not privy to the nuances of the Western culture. He's Chinese, for God's sake. And so that's why the result is that we have people living in the 21st century, in our times, practicing the Chinese way in the United States. I find it to be not appropriate. So that's why I meant in one commentary, I said, he's like laying the foundation for the substance of Mahayana. It's a lot of work. It's incredibly important for him to lay the foundation. Without the foundation, nothing good can be built of. Nothing long-lasting, nothing of great importance can be built unless you have the proper foundation. Agree? That's what he did. That's critical for our Mahayana. And that took him the entire lifetime to do that. Very similarly to Master Wei Shan, took his entire life to lay the foundation for the Wei Yang lineage. And later, his disciple, Master Yang Shan, looked at that and says, this I need to separate from him because it has to be more accommodating for people with higher potentials. So that's why Yang Shan later separated himself from his teacher. When the teacher was still alive, Yang Shan separated himself and said, "Teacher, I'm going to go off my own." And then he started teaching, okay? And then later Master Wei Shan looked at him and said, "Yeah, that's my disciple." He approved. So in Buddhism, we encourage independent thinking. We encourage you to put your personal stamp on your brand of Buddhism. Nothing wrong with that. Okay? It's highly encouraged. All right? So the foundation of the Wei Yang lineage we have, okay, is this: you blind to the faults of others. All others, we don't care. Okay? Whatever they're wrong, whether they're evil, whether they're stupid, whether they are deviant and so forth, we can't care less. It's none of our business. Okay? And I'm reminding you, Chung-In Sunim, in particular, a young Korean monk there, do not imitate me and criticize others. Okay? I will tell you this, personally, I am grateful to all the monks and nuns. Because without that Sangha there, Buddhist Sangha of the world, whether it's Sri Lankan Sangha or Theravadan Sangha or Mahayana Sangha, okay? The reason that I'm here today is because of them. Look at our clothes. Our clothes is a hybrid. My Chinese sister, my Chinese master wears yellow and brown. Okay? The inner robe is yellow. This robe here, the long robe is yellow, excuse me. And the sash, it could be either brown or yellow. But inside is yellow. That's a Chinese style. I have a second teacher. My Vietnamese master is, the robe is brown and no sash. Yes? Okay? So we married the two. Okay? We married Vietnamese and Chinese because I want to tell you, your third generation of my disciples, that I'm grateful to both the Chinese and the Vietnamese. That's why we wear brown on brown. And we chose the Chinese style robe instead of Vietnamese style robe because, why is that? I like the color better. I'm vain, what can I say? Okay, the Chinese style robe, the color looks much more adorned. Vietnamese robe is like Korean robe. It's a little bit too soft for me. I came from a Western shirt. Okay, where the color is very important. You know, it has to be. If you wear the business suit, business shirt, the collar has to be starched. Okay, otherwise people would laugh at you. Unless you wear Oxford shirt, then it's different. Yes, Wei Mountain.
Does the gray robe or does the tan or the gray robe mean anything?
The gray robe is, you mean the Samgati, the red robe? That's a Chinese. Is that what
the
you
gray
asked?
one that some of the Sangha members wear?
Yeah, the Samgati, right? Yeah. Are you talking about the red one or the yellow one?
No, I mean the gray one, and then sometimes you wear the tan one. Does that mean anything?
I'm sorry, I don't quite get it. Which one are you referring to? Most of us are lazy who wear just a brown sash. Yes?
I mean, the one underneath,
The one underneath?
the colors.
The colors? The brown or yellow, you mean?
Yes.
It really doesn't mean much. It's just a robe. But for us, also a little bit of style, a flair, because I want to teach them. You have a little bit of culture. I'm from a French education, a French high school education. So to the French, style is everything. You know what I mean? You know? You see how the French, they wear the scarf? Style. If you have no style, then life is not worth living. You're a peasant. Okay? So that's why I try to teach them a little bit, but it seems not to be working very well. Wei Mao, go ahead, sir.
Master, I think he referred to the hyjing that the Shami wears is gray, the gray color that Venerable Shintong and a lot of Venerable wear those gray color. We want to ask about that meaning.
The gray color? Oh, it's just to separate the novices from the real people, so that we put them in their place. Novices occupy a special place in our Sangha. They are monkeys. So they do what they're supposed to do. I have some novices that consider themselves pretty smart, like I used to consider myself smarter than all the monks and nuns, and therefore you have to suffer. You have such an attitude. Okay, the novices, they wear gray because they need to be reminded they are not real people yet. They're not real monks and nuns yet. Okay, and therefore know your place. And those fundamental aspects of life, you got to know your place. Does it answer your question, sir?
Yes, Master, thanks.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, so again, I remind especially the young monk from Korea, Chung-in Sunim, who tends to criticize his elders. I frown upon that. You should not criticize your elders. None of you should criticize your elders. Okay? It's not the way. I can criticize my elder because that's the middle way. Okay? And that's because you don't criticize your elders, but I criticize the elder. Therefore, our Dharma is the middle way. Is that clear? If I don't criticize my elders, then ours is slanted way. So that's why it's be clear about our roles. I'm the only one who's allowed to criticize my elders. You are not. Is that clear, Chung-in Sunim? Is he there? This guy criticizes people left and right. He's not wrong, but as a monk and nun, you're supposed to not criticize your peers and your elders, in particular your elders. That's wrong, simply wrong. Okay? There's no excuse for that. Again, I criticize because I'm trying to teach you. I'm trying to help you avoid making the mistakes of these people, which I feel should not be that proud, should not be so complacent. Okay, that's not the way. Okay, but to practice the way, the foundation of from Master Huineng here, he said, be blind to the force of the world. To Master YongHua, to all the patriarchs, it's all the same. They all preach the same thing. They preached being blind to the force of the world. I also preach you the same exact thing. I'm no patriarch, mind you. I also preach you the same thing because that's the way. The way that we practice is to be oblivious to the faults of others. You see others' faults as if you don't see them at all. Seeing yet not seeing, that is the middle way. And again, I stress to you, any disciple of mine who criticizes others and brings up others' faults is no disciple of mine. It's totally not cool with me. All right, next. 238. If you attend to others' faults, your fault finding itself is wrong. Others' faults I do not treat as wrong. My faults are my own transgressions.
若见他人非，自非却是左；他非我不非，我非自有过。
Okay. Okay. Before I translate, explain to you. 是左 here is wrong, right? Okay, very good. Okay. 若见大人非, if you see others' faults, I don't know how they got to attend to others' faults. If you see others' faults, okay, 自非却是在左, okay, that itself is wrong. Agree or disagree? If you look at others' faults, 若见大人非, 见 here is not to see, but to look. If you look for others' faults, that itself is wrong. Meaning, if you look for others' faults, stop it. You're wasting time. It's not cultivation. Can we change it? You agree? Huh? There's only 2 Chinese persons here. The rest of the Chinese are sleeping in China. Only the Koreans would get up at 4 and 5 in the morning to listen to a lecture on a Sunday morning. That's too much. That's not the middle way. That's too vigorous. Okay? If you look for others' faults, please correct it. If you look for others' fault, that itself is wrong. That just is wrong. That just is wrong. We don't have to literally translate everything, but untranslate the context here. Okay, that just is wrong. It's emphasis. That just is wrong. Okay, no excuses you can make. It's just wrong. Ta fei wo bu fei. My faults, okay. Others' faults. I see no wrong in others' faults. Okay, 自由过. But my faults are wrong. The Chinese, I admire them for being very literary, but my style for English translation has to be more direct. Okay? You translate the Chinese literary style into English, it diminishes the purpose of the teaching. Okay, can we correct it? Okay, you look at others' fault, that just is wrong. Cut it out. It's very blunt. If you look at others' fault, you're trying to look for others' faults, okay? Because you're so smart, because you can see, you can say, oh, look at that, it is so wrong, okay? And that just is wrong. In other words, you open your eyes and you deliberately are looking for others' faults. That is not cultivation. You might as well stop it. You might as well quit because you're walking the wrong path. It's not what our teachers, it's not what our Weiyang lineage preaches. Okay? And I have proof here from the 6th Patriarch. Okay? Don't look for others' faults. Stop it. Okay? It's not okay to look for others' faults. I see no wrong in others' faults, but my wrongs are unacceptable. Let's be a little bit more classy. Wrong is too colloquial. My faults are unacceptable. Okay? Yes, sir. Yes. Yeah, the mic, please, because it's being recorded and broadcasted.
So I'm not sure if I understand this section quite well, because sometimes we're not really looking for people's fault. Like, let's say people's fault just comes at you, or like
Like
getting
what?
hurt
Give me
by
an example.
For example,
Personal to you.
Just I can give you actually a real life example. Like a week ago, I was walking down the street right where I live, and someone just threw it out in the ice on the street. I got a hit on my finger. Other driver got a hit too. So just basically, someone's doing bad.
Yeah.
Basically, you're realizing someone's putting your life in danger. So you're observing someone's fault, but that doesn't mean you're looking or searching for people's fault. So does this section try to tell you that
Good
you're
question.
not searching?
It's so American. God, it's so disgusting.
Yeah.
I mean, the Asian would never ask this kind of thing. Okay, so but it's a valid point. So you minding your business, looking for others' faults, right? And someone provokes you. They throw something at you or put your life in danger or do something real, real stupid. Or your eyes are open. You cannot say, I didn't see anything. Yes? Especially when you're affected. Darn it. I mean, what's the matter with you? Okay? So I understand. So how can you say you blind to others? Okay, and that's why I translate the original text, the original English translation. When you what was it again? To look at others' faults? Or why do you have to correct both of them? And I don't remember what was the prior version. We should stop this. You make it more difficult for me, huh? You tend to, yeah, nonsense. Okay, so look at the translation. Look at the prose I propose. I said, if you look at all these faults, okay, it means that you are searching for. You are looking out, okay? Looking at all these faults. You're looking for their faults. Whereas your situation you described, I was driving and someone threw some ice cubes at me. Okay, were you looking at others' faults? No, you weren't. Yes, sir. Orange.
What if in your life or in your job is to look for others' fault?
Like me?
Yeah, you really like if you are a coach, if you're a manager, right? Your job is to help your team to improve. So part of your job is to find other people's problems, where they can improve. Your purpose is not to blame them, your purpose is to help them improve. But
Okay.
would that count as look for
Okay.
or look at other people's fault?
That's a good question. Help. Appease him. Yes, Black.
I don't think that is a fall because your intention is different. Your intention is to develop.
I adore you.
Yeah.
He's my disciple. See? Okay. Remember the intention. The intent here is to find faults. Okay. For what purpose? To elevate yourself. And what that does, what is not what is implied here. If you keep on looking for all these faults, that's your purpose. When you do that, thank you. You do that, what happens? Your ego grows. Our purpose for cultivating is to diminish the ego, not make it grow bigger. And this is the fundamental mistakes that people who practice the way make. As they practice and they become better, they understand more, they hear the principles, the right and wrong, proper, improper, good versus evil, and so forth. Okay, and they naturally look at the world under those lenses. This is wrong, this is right, this is wrong, this is right. Okay, that's what we all naturally do. Okay, and it is okay as long as it's not meant to inflate our ego. So if he drives on and someone, puts him in danger, and that's wrong. That's not inflating his ego at that point. If you're looking for other faults in order to help them, in order to get a raise, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I hope. Now it's clear. It's black and white, okay? I have proof.
And then fold it back. Wait, can I show you what to do? This is from my friend, and then do it like this. Now you see.
Oh, wow. Because I asked her last night, is it like or love? So now she made sure that it's the form of an envelope. How clever. I love it. Oh, thank you. Oh.
Everybody like.
Okay, so you look at others' faults, you're searching for others' faults, that is just wrong. Stop it, cut it out, okay? Don't look at others' faults. When I see others' faults, like you said, throwing ice cubes at you, that's wrong, okay? But I see no wrong in it. Meaning, it's wrong of them to do it, but to me, okay, I don't have any problem with it. That's hard to do. That's why it's called cultivation. This is so subtle, okay, in that the first part is easy. We say, okay, I will not look at others' faults. Okay, that is wrong. But I see no wrong in others' faults. It's much more difficult. Because most of us would have an adverse reaction to it. Okay? It's natural instinct to say, this is so wrong. I have, most of my disciples, are bipolar. Okay? The manic side is constantly finding faults in others and disapproving those people. Yes, Black. Are you bipolar too?
Thank you, Master. I think so. I think I have some bipolar in me. But thank you, Master. I just want to share a story that happened to me this morning why I'm driving to the temple this morning, and my objective is to get to the temple ASAP. Mm-hmm. So I run the stop sign, and the cop stopped me. And then he looked at me, and I can see he looked at my fall, but he don't see the fall, because when he stopped my car right away, instead of saying, "Oh, you are fall," he then asked, "Is everything okay? Are you feeling okay? Are you driving okay? If you need to stop the car, rest and drive." And then he let me go. So the cop
Were
is
you
so
dangling
nice.
your bad foot on?
No, I did not. I did not.
Swear to God? Really?
Yeah, I was sitting and he was standing outside.
That's the first thing I do is I would stand, oh, excuse me, officer, excuse me, officer, I fall on the ground.
No, Master. He was just stopped the car, and right away, instead of looking the fall that I have, he looked and he say, is everything okay? Sometimes people have different reason to go and rush, but I just want you to be careful and next time. So I can see that the cop looking at the fall, but he didn't see the fall. So I just want to share. Thanks.
Why did it never happen to me? Life is not fair.
Yes.
It's just not fair.
Because I went to the temple, you can ask everything.
That's true.
Thank you.
I wasn't going to a temple. I was going away from a temple. How nice, and that's so cute. Okay, I happen to believe this is not a happened by, it wasn't a coincidence, because there's some people, we have such reaction to some people that they overlook our mistakes, our faults, and are more lenient towards us because of us. That we are not aggressive, we're not critical, we're not arrogant, and there's no need for them to be mean to us. And they reciprocate. I really believe that. I've seen quite a few cases like that, personally myself as well. Okay, because people are fighting too much out there. Okay. People fight because they see all these faults. They see they're wrong, others are wrong, and they're right. That's why they're fighting. Okay? They believe that they must fight because they're wrong. Others are wrong. Okay? And that's why when you meet people who are different, who are not fighting at all, you would tend to have a different reaction to them, would treat them differently.
It was really funny because he even apologized to me for being so rough and stopped me. That was so funny. Yeah, thank you.
Never happened to me. It's so unfair. Okay. All right. So this is the second part. The last two sentences, phrases are: I see no wrong in all these faults. Even if people are wrong, I have faults, I see nothing wrong at all. Meaning that I don't criticize them, I don't condemn them. Okay? However, my own faults are unacceptable. Okay? In other words, I embrace others' faults and reject my own faults. And that is our modus operandi. This is how we operate. This is Wei Yang. This is what I loved about Master YongHua's Dharma. Okay? Which I did not see after I left. I still remember what it was like when he was alive. Okay? Yes. Orange.
I remember Master YongHua talks a lot about 他非即我非, like others' fault is my fault. Is that the extension of this, Master? Could you explain it?
Yes, that's his teaching to his disciples. I chose not to teach that way because for the Westerners, it's illogical. Especially when you have a bunch of crazy and manic people, it's totally unacceptable. That's why my disciple is so manic, I don't dare teach them that. It would not work. Because they would have disagreed with me and fought me tooth and nail. Okay? So yes, actually what he's teaching is very profound. He says, when you look at all these faults, actually it's my fault. It's very profound. But it doesn't make sense to Westerners. To the Asians, it makes sense. It should make sense, but not to Westerners. Westerners is totally illogical. Okay? That's why I don't teach it. But I love that teaching. Because you have real wisdom, then you see why others' faults is my faults. Okay? For two aspects. Number one, all the faults, okay, if I see all these faults, it's because I have the same faults. Okay? And that's why I can see them. But if you don't have the same faults, then you say, what faults? Okay, it's not intellectual. It's not intellectual. It's not a self-delusion. You are deluding yourself at all. Okay? I'm seeing it. I'm saying that you see others' faults because you have the same exact faults yourself. That's how you recognize it. It takes one to recognize one. Okay? Fundamentally. Number two, the other reason. YouTube, go ahead. And there's a question on GMT as well.
Two questions. From Apple, it's not faults, it's some issues people can improve, like they lack some skills. I'm talking about job related. From Lyle, do not look at others' fault. Does it also apply to political actions? I heard that current president in Korea is doing so many nonsense that could be harmful to this country. So lots of people are participating in demonstration. If someone is Buddhist, is it better not to participate in political demonstration and making political comments? And there's history in Korea that when this country was colonized by Japan, many Korean monks armed themselves and fought fiercely.
Say what? Okay, let me think about it. Help me out. Your master is so full. I can't think because I'm so full. Someone fed me too much. Go ahead, JMT, while we process the two questions.
헬로 마스터. 다른 사람의 잘못을 보지 말라고 하신 법문에서 저의 케이스는
It's going to take a while, that's why. It's my clue. Tea time.
다른 사람한테 뭐 기본적으로 관심이 없으니까 다른 사람의 잘못은 상관이 없는데 다른 사람의 잘못으로 제가 피해를 당했다고 생각할 때만 제가 좀 반응을 하는데 제 질문은 다른 사람의 잘못을 보고 다른 사람이 저의 잘못에 대해서 얘기했을 때 제가 정말 잘못한 것이 없었을 때 내가 이런 식으로 업장을 소멸하는구나라고 생각하는 게 제가 오만한 건지 질문드립니다. 마지막쯤이요. 그러니까 다른 사람 내가 정말 잘못한 것이 없음에도 불구하고 비난을 받았을 때 내가 이런 식으로 업장을 소멸하는구나라고 사고 처리하는 게 제가 오만한 건지 질문드립니다. 상무님 괜찮으세요? 네.
No, the Koreans are laughing. They're so serious in Korea. I swear to God. Yes, what's your question again?
When I have no interest in others, it doesn't matter whether they have faults or not. But when I get affected by their faults, I react. So, and then sometimes people blame me, even if I don't have any faults. Then I think that it may be reduce my obstruction. Is it wise to think like that?
No. Help. I mean, I don't know how to address this Korean question. It's too much. Okay, if others at fault, and Jumi, again, it's a valid point. Jumi says, it's someone's fault, and yet I'm adversely affected by it. What am I supposed to do? Say nothing? Right? And then Jumi said, I have a problem with that. That's not Buddhism. That's stupidity. Yes?
다른 사람이 잘하던 잘못하던 사실은 정말 관심이 없고요. 상무님 너무
I have no interest in whether they do faults or not.
제가 그 다 뭐 피해를 당했다고 생각할 때만 이제 번뇌가 일어나는데
I got afflicted only when I got affected by their faults.
I hear you. It's so much easier when they are wrong and it doesn't affect you at all. I agree with you totally. I hear you. What I'm hearing also is that you say it's only when they're wrong and I'm affected by it. Is the translation not clear? Let me restate it, paraphrase it for you. When someone is wrong, okay, and that affects me, okay, in a bad way, adversely, okay, that is hard for you to accept. Correct?
맞고요. 이제 그렇게 받아들이 힘들었을 때 제 질문은 받아들이 힘들었을 때 아 이런 식으로 내가 업장을 소멸하는구나라고 생각을 하는 게 제가 바르게 사고 처리를 하는 건지 그러니까 그거를 소화하기 위해서 처리하는 건지 아니면 오만한 건지 그걸 질문 드리고 싶습니다.
Yes, that is correct. And my question is, in that situation, is it okay to think that I am reducing my obstruction because of this thing? Is this the right way to think?
No. That's the nature of our relationship. She talks, and I say yes or no. And I think that's how the husband treats her. Yes or no, husband?
Yes.
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 What did I tell you? Okay, I understand her point. She's reasonable, okay? You have to give it to her. I hate to admit it, she's reasonable. Okay, it's easy for you to say, and others that fall, I don't look at them. No problem. Okay, easy, because it doesn't affect you at all. But she says, but when it affects me, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to roll over and play dead? And the answer is, yes. Okay, Jumi, that's what is called taking a loss. You don't need a reason to take a loss. And that's why it's called cultivation. You deliberately take a loss. Yes, I admit to you, Jumi, that when it happens to me, okay, for example, the cop stops two cars, my car and Nu's car, and he lets her go and gives me a ticket. It's so wrong. Okay? I cannot live with that. I agree with you. Okay? However, because I'm a cultivator, okay, I can't take it. My first reaction, because I'm manic, I said, this sucks. Okay? I think that's what you're referring to. Okay, Jumi, is nothing wrong with saying this sucks. But if we cultivate, we know that it sucks, but we swallow. We accept it. That's why it's called cultivation. We know it's wrong, we struggle with it, but we accept it. That's all you have to do. It does not have to make sense to you. Your problem, Jumi, all these years is that you say, it doesn't make sense to me. That's her theme. But this is illogical. This is nonsensible. Yes, you're right. But that's why it's called cultivation. It's nonsense. Why? Because it's your ego who objects to it. And that's why we feed your ego and say, swallow it. Accept it. You got that? Doesn't have to make sense to you. You just choose to take a loss and then dump on your husband later. The tea helps. I think it's so sweet of Jumi to keep on struggling with this for like, I've seen her 3 years now, and she's been asking the same theme. It's not fair to me. You can talk and talk and talk, and Jumi says, yes, I love the principle, it makes sense to me, but it's not fair, okay? It is, this is illogical, okay? And I've been very patient with her. I ignored it totally. Okay, and it bothered her. And every time we talk about this, she would say, I have a question. And then and she spent 5 minutes formulating her question. Okay, and so only today I gave her the answer. You take a loss. Okay? It's you being manic, you reject it, you said this is wrong, okay? That's normal for you. However, the second thought is, I accept. That's how you program yourself. And with that, if you do that every single time, Jumi, which means all day long for you, then you will make progress. You've been stuck for 3 years now. You struggle with this concept. It's unfair, it's illogical. I'm teaching you today. Yes, you are right, but swallow. Accept it. Take a loss. Is that clear? That's all you have to do. Okay. Why am I so tired already? Okay, what about the other two questions? Ignore Lyle's question first. Let's go to the easy one. What's the first question again? No, that's the second one. We may ignore it for a few years as well. What's the first question again? YouTube people? What's the first question? Anyone remembers? What about workplace?
That was Apple's comment. It says, I'm talking about the job related.
Okay, what was it?
It's not faults, it's some issues people can improve, like they lack some skills.
Yes.
I'm talking about the job related.
Yes, what's the question?
There's no question. That's a comment on YouTube.
Okay, so there's no question there. Okay. Let's go to the second commentary or question. Repeat the question.
The Lyos, the next one is Lyos.
Yes.
Lyos says, do not look at others' fault. Does it also applies to political actions? I heard that current president in Korea is doing so many nonsense that could be harm to this country. So lots of people are participating in demonstration. If someone's Buddhist, does someone is better not to participate in political demonstration and making political comments? And there's history in Korea that when this country was colonized by Japan, many Korean monks armed themselves and fought fiercely.
I'm glad I'm not Korean. Let's leave it to the Koreans to fix this problem. Answer these questions. First of all, Okay, the first question is that if the government is wrong and does things that are harmful to society, okay, it's no different from back then. We live in a kingdom where some kings are good, some kings are bad. Some emperors are fantastic, some are not. Okay? Some are pretty evil. What do? Okay? Historically, go back history and see what happened in those cases. In particular for us, monks and nuns in Korea, is a special case where the monks and nuns in Korea actually receive a lot of help from the government, which put them in a very bad situation, not want to touch it with 10-foot pole. Okay, so if I were a Korean Sunim, and I'm not, however, I do have a couple of tiny way places in Korea, I would not touch this with a 10-foot pole. Okay, because I hope that someday the government will help me. You don't want to be in the blacklist. I don't want to be in blacklist. Okay, that's how I answer the first question. Okay, because it has some advantages and disadvantages, getting help from the government. The government, let me tell you right now, I wasn't planning on talking about this because she had to bring it up. I was planning to talk about this tomorrow. And it looks like, we have nothing to talk about tomorrow. It's like nothing else to talk about as far as the trip goes. There's some advantages that when the Korean government, historically I looked at how the Korean government is so supportive of Korean Buddhism. That's why the economy of Korea is so strong. They came from dirt poor of a country after the war to one of the well-off countries in the world. Okay, it's because of the blessings from the government, and that comes to me personally. I feel it came from their support of the sages in Korea. Therefore, it's a good thing they have going there, and that's very, very special that the non-Buddhists don't understand. It's okay. But I look at it and say, oh wow, that's why those enlightened monks in Korea receive so much support from the government, and that's why it's mutually beneficial. It has nothing to do with politics, with the outside world and the rest of the population, but the mere fact that the government has this practice of helping the Sangha in Korea, and even though they don't realize that many of these, they pay special attention to the 3 major temples, okay? And that support is never lacking, and that's why they supported, the government supported those sages there. That's why they're very, very strong as an economy. This is what most people don't realize. Even Koreans don't realize it, I don't think. So therefore, it's a good system. Therefore, that's the second reason why I would not touch it with a 10-foot pole. It works for them beautifully. And that's why that Buddhism is so strong that the outsiders cannot get in at all. They spread the great seeds in the Korean race, and they're able to keep the non-beneficial sects of Buddhism for the Koreans outside of the country. So to me, it works beautifully. Okay? I wouldn't touch it. Okay? On the other hand, there's a there's a flip side of it, where when you get so much support from the government, then there is a problem. I personally believe that in this Dharma ending age, the Sangha must carry its own weight. Okay, back then, after the Buddha entered Nirvana, he sent his disciples throughout the countries in India with Emperor Ashoka's help. What did they do? They taught the population how to farm, how to plant rice, how to raise cattle, how to they were healing they prescribing medicine and healing the population. So actually back then, the monks were extremely useful to society. That's why Buddhism spread so far and wide throughout India. Okay, so back then, fundamentally, the Sangha has to be of service to society. It's not meant to be put on a pedestal. When I joined Buddhism 25 years ago, in my master's temple, it seemed like they put on a pedestal and there's nothing wrong. And we're supposed to make offerings to them. And to me, as a Western educated person, I find it unacceptable. And maybe that's the same thing how the youth is looking at us nowadays. Are you a burden to society? Are you parasites to society? And the answer to them is yes. You do nothing to deserve our support. And that's a problem. And that's why in Korea, in other countries as well, the young don't come to the temples anymore because they feel like it's unfair. They're struggling. They have to contribute to society when we do nothing and they're supposed to come and support us. That's nonsense to them. And that's why Buddhism is losing grounds. They go to churches where at least they do charity work, they socialize each other and so forth. They really find nothing in our temples. So you can't blame them for not going to the Buddhist temples anymore. Okay? And that to me is a problem. If you automatically are supported in your cultivation, I don't know. I don't know it's a healthy thing to do nowadays. I believe it's important for the master to support his disciples because I got help myself personally, not by my master, but by others who supported my practice before I was strong enough to take care of myself. And I realized from my own experience that without the early support in my career, I wouldn't be able to sit here and speak Dharma to you. Because back then, all I had to do is worry about meditating and learning a Dharma 24 hours a day. That's it. There's no other purpose in life. I didn't have to worry about paying rent, paying for gas, paying for my clothes, paying for anything whatsoever. Only thing in mind I do is cultivate, meditate, and learn the Dharma. That's it. Prepare myself to become a Dharma master down the road. And because of that early support, I was able to get where I am today. That's why I am grateful for that, and that's why I'm passing it on to the next generation by supporting you, doing the same thing I received, giving you the same thing I received. That's all. Because it worked. Traditionally, that's how it has always been. Nowadays, the Sunims, now they have to get a job so that they have money to pay for the clothes, buy shoes, go to restaurants, and pay for the cars. So now, the monks and nuns have to get a job like a lay person. And that is not healthy for Buddhism. Initially, I am of the belief that like monks and nuns, when they first come into the temple and go into the training program, is similar to our own children. They need to be nurtured as well. so that they don't have to worry about money or worry about making ends meet. That's how they can learn to take care of themselves eventually. If you start our children out by making them go to the street corner and beg for food, like used to be the case in England when they have child labor. They send kids to the mines, okay? Most of those kids die. They don't make it. They didn't make it. The same thing with monks and nuns. And if we let our monks and nuns struggle for their own survival early on, they will not make it as monks and nuns. So I agree. I agree that we need to have some support for the thing, but it's in the interest of helping them develop skills so that they can be self-sufficient, they can be of use to society later on. Okay? So that's why there's a compromise. I don't subscribe to automatically supporting things, so that's why I will support you. You want to cultivate, okay, and you want to have a pure life, I have no problem with it. I support you as well, okay? We need people who want to live the pure life. That's cultivation as well, as far as I'm concerned. But it's not meant to be comfortable. Yes, Black.
Thank you, Master. I just want to share that even those monk and nun in the temple, it looked like they are doing nothing, but they are actually helping a lot of us. One of the example I would give right now is in the past 2 months, my son, he would cry every morning. And sometimes he doesn't want to go to school. He was so depressed. He stayed home. He would cut almost 75% of the class. He didn't want to go to class at all. He cried. And then when he said he doesn't want to go to class, I say, okay, then you go to the temple with mom. The moment he went to the temple, he went home, then he told me that mom is so peaceful here. And then when it get to the point where I feel like, oh my God, this is not, his grade will be like F and D. And I say, this is how it's gonna be. And then I said, we need to do something. I went and asked the Venerable Hinji, and he say, don't worry, Kong, we just pray for him. And then in the morning, every time Venerable chant, he always say, I pray for your son. And now and then I asked him, I say, since he have struggled like this, Master, can I switch him to a different school? Maybe the change in the environment? He did something and he said, sure, why don't you make the change? And the change was, we did it. And when he told me, I went home, I told my husband, he called the district on Friday, on Thursday and Monday, my son started a new school. And he's been starting the new school for 1 week, but it was amazing. He started the new club for the school. He's like a new person. So for people like us, if we look outside, and they think that, oh, temple doesn't do anything, but the temple and the monk and nun here are like extremely compassionate. They help us out so much. I appreciate everything from Master and from our Sangha and monk. Thank you, monk and nun.
Why am I the last one to know about these things?
Because I didn't tell anybody because I'm afraid that it's too much for you and everybody already. But thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing with
Thank
us.
you, Master. Yes.
Oh, I'm so proud of my monks and nuns. Go ahead, JMT.
영화 유튜브에 올라온 강호님 질문입니다. 공공장소에서 적절치 못한 행동을 하는 것을 볼 때, 가령 지하철에 술 마신 취객이 난동을 부리거나 이렇게 다른 사람들에게 피해를 주는 행동을 볼 때 이런 상황에서도 수행자로서는 나서지 않는 것이 바람직할까요?
In public place, sometimes I saw people do improper things, such as drunken person make a fuss and make others uncomfortable. In that situation, is it better to not to do anything as a cultivator?
Okay, repeat the question, please.
In public place, sometimes people do improper things. For example, in the subway, somebody drunk, and then they make people uncomfortable. And in this situation, should I do nothing?
So someone is drunk in the subway?
Yeah, and then make a fuss and make people do some.
Yeah. In that case, report to the authorities. It's not your job to deal with drunkards. Okay. However, if some people are in danger because of such behavior, then we should try to help. Okay. Wei Mountain.
Master, is the ego related to a demon or anything demonic with the ego?
Yes. They're connected. All right. So I think Lyle still has the second part that's still not answered. What about political committees or whatever, something like that, right? Or is there a second part?
If someone's Buddhist, someone is better not to participate in political demonstration and making political comments?
Right. It's not advisable for us monks and nuns to engage in politics. Okay? I don't know about Korea, but here in the U.S., we operate under a very wonderful thing. We're very blessed under something called separation of church and state. So we don't engage in politics, we don't engage in elections and so forth, help someone win and so forth. Or do we go into politics ourselves? So that's why monks and nuns should not engage in political rallies and so forth. I will not stop my monks and nuns from going to vote, okay? If that's how you feel about it, I respect your individual choices, okay? And your preferences, whatever, okay? As long as you vote Republican, whatever, okay? So it's okay. I refrain from imposing my will on you, okay? However, it's up to you. You decide wherever at your stage of your cultivation, you feel certain ways about it. Feel free to go vote and do whatever, but don't engage in politics, okay? And even hopefully later, I frown at, for example, a monk being a national teacher. To me, it's difficult. It's a delicate balance, and it's very difficult to avoid creating offenses and causing problems for the non-Buddhist religions. So that's why in the U.S., I love the system here. There's a separation of church and state. Whatever we do on the church side has nothing to do with the government, even though it cannot be helped. Now the churches try to influence the government, elect their own officials who are more supportive of their abortion or anti-abortion stances and whatever. Okay, I understand that it's natural, human nature to do that. But for us, as far as we are concerned, we don't want to engage in those activities at all. Okay, politics, how to rule the country, run the country, I leave it up to your personal decision. The Sangha will not engage. I don't feel it's appropriate for the Sangha to engage. We're busy enough devoting our lives to developing wisdom. Engaging in politics is not helpful towards that purpose. That's why I prefer not to engage. Okay? I like politics. I feel that it's a fascinating field. If I were a lay person, I probably want to go into politics myself, but not as a monk. Okay, we should stay away from those issues. It's just my personal opinion. However, I'm not forcing any of my disciples one way or the other. Okay, we're very, very loose in that sense. They have the right to develop their own beliefs and understanding. It's okay to make mistakes, and how we learn from making mistakes. I have no problems with it. Okay, so it's okay. But eventually, I hope that one day you also understand that we should not meddle with the government. Okay? Officially. All right. Anything else? And so they back to slide 239. I see no wrongs. Okay, in others' faults. Okay, that's important to resist the temptation of condemning others and judging others when you see they're wrong. Okay, because it inflates your ego. But if I see my wrongs, my faults, it's like poison. We need to cut it off. Okay, we need to sever ourselves. We need to distance ourselves from those faults, and that is cultivation. No excuses. You see your own faults. Don't try to disguise. I have some people who left the temple because what they do is they constantly hide their faults, pretend it's not theirs, and make excuses. Our world is described right here in slide 239. We publicize our faults. I publicize my disciples' faults because they will not. So I will publicize their faults so that they have no choice, so that they cannot pretend that they don't have a problem. Okay, and again, I stress to you, disciples, especially Sanghas and lay people, never criticize all the Sanghas. Never talk about the Sanghas' faults. Whatever they do, even if it's wrong, it's none of your business. It's none of our business. Okay? The Sangha has a way of taking care of those issues themselves. You don't have to worry about it. Right? 240. Simply cast out the mind that finds faults. Once cast away, afflictions are destroyed. When hate and love don't imprison the mind, stretch out both legs and then lie down.
但自却非心，打除烦恼破。深爱不关心，长伸两脚卧。
Okay, very good. 241 commentary. 但自却非心. Just cast out the mind that finds fault. Don't replace simply with just. Its trust is stronger. Okay? Just as the mind finds fault. Tan here is just. Okay? Once once the mind is that finds fault, the fault finding mind is eliminated, afflictions are gone. It's not trouble. We're talking about afflictions. Okay? 真爱不关心. So when hate and love, when the mind is one, when the mind is not imprisoned by hate and love, imprisoned. Stretch out both legs and lie down. You finish your work. Now you can take a break. Look at this, these verses. I asked the Koreans in Korea, where does it say that you must practice Hwato? What does it say you must mind your breath? So this is what the Master is referring to is the foundation of the spiritual practices. You can do meditation, you can do tantras, you can do reciting the Buddha's name, but if you don't have this foundation of not finding faults in others, instead look at your own faults and cast them out, that is the foundation. That's lacking. That you need in order to make progress. Is it clear? This is so important. This is why the Master Huineng didn't talk about, enlightenment. He says, if you want to open your practice wisdom, you need this foundation of stopping looking at others' faults. Instead, correct your own faults. That's it. It's that simple. And that's why if you look at any lay person or monk who keeps on talking about others' faults, you know those people are no longer making progress. That's why they have plenty of time to look at others' faults. Okay. Did you fix the prior slides? Okay, fix the prior slides and we're done for today. Okay, thank you everyone.